Hello, it's V, and today I'm in St. Albans. It's about a 20-minute train ride, I think, from London. And that's a look down the gorgeous high street. This place is stunning. There's a museum. There's more high streets. Sorry about the wind. It's a bit windy today. At least it's not raining. We've had storms all weekend, so I'm happy it's not raining. And I'm headed to the cathedral. So let's see what that looks like. Look at this stunning old pub. This tree is called the Verdun tree. It was grown from a conker, which itself came from one of the last trees left standing after the Battle of Verdun during the First World War. It's huge. And it's right outside the cathedral. Let's head in and see what this looks like. This is the Ventry Garden. With information about the area. Since the 14th century, the area of south of High Street has been called Ventry. What a stunning building. Look at that ceiling. Stunning. Again, the ceilings are just stunning. I've got to be honest, the history nerd in me is going nuts. This place is huge. It's amazing. This was one of the Dean of St. Albans in like 1339? Sorry, 1349 to 1396. This is where my guided tour started. The guided tour was spectacular. The woman was funny. For a guided tour of a cathedral, I was surprised and I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend one if you're ever at St. Albans Cathedral. Britain's first martyr, Alban, was executed on this site 1700 years ago. Now, I'll try not to overwhelm you with history, but I've got to admit, I'm a history nerd. I loved it. I'll try not to give you every detail I remember, but the high points. Just to the south of the cathedral was a Roman city called Verulamium. I believe that's how it was pronounced. Alban was a Roman who lived there, and at that time it was illegal to be a Christian. Long story short, he helped a priest escape by loaning him his cloak so the priest passed as a Roman. Once they found out, they executed Alban. St. Albans Cathedral has some of the finest medieval wall paintings in any English church. The earliest dates from the early 1200s. These paintings have been through a lot. During the Reformation, they were scratched out. A lot of paintings at that time had the faces scratched out. Then in Victorian times, they tried to help by putting a gluey-like substance over it, which pretty much ruined them. But today, St. Albans has extrapolated data from the paintings themselves, put it into a computer, and they now show you what they would have looked like first during the Reformation with the faces scratched out, then what they would have looked like to begin with. They would have been so colorful. This is the story of Alban giving his cloak to the priest. Walking around the cathedral, you can tell there are several different types of architecture. The Norman, the oldest part, obviously joins on to a newer part, and I love that. The people who were expanding the cathedral just went with the trend of the day instead of trying to build a completely Norman church.
Medieval church. If you can imagine sort of walls along the side and along this side here, and those walls kept the likes of you and I out of this place. But the monks would come here and put up a temple in the 13th century. By the 15th century, sadly, they still didn't have that money for that stone ceiling, so the abbot of the time, Abbot John of Wheatamstead, decided that the Eucharist service might still be going on in the shrine. The reason this is here is because the central one in the tower, the one that has the royal standard on, is like your loft hatch at home. It's the one where if anything needs...
This watching loft was constructed around 1400 and is the only surviving medieval wooden watching loft in England. Monastic officials would sit here and keep an eye on pilgrims visiting the shrine on the other side.
So this is the Lady Chapel. This is where those ecumenical services we were talking about, the Lutheran, the Orthodox services, all take place here. But remember I said that this place was also a parish church for the people who lived in the area.
So this was the front of the watching cabinet. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. This is the shrine to St. Alban. They have guided tours, and on the tour she said, in Victorian times, they found a lot of marble rubble and discovered that it was this shrine. The monks had kept very good records, so they could figure out how to put it back together so it looks exactly as it did in medieval times before the Reformation and the dissolution of the monasteries under Henry VIII. I think that is amazing. I'm going to go around to the front, but you can see, even from this side, some of the worn concrete at the bottom is where pilgrims would come to pray. It's very ornate. This is the burial place of Humphrey, Duke of Gloucester. He fought at Agincourt. He was a son, a brother, and an uncle to 3 kings of England, Henry IV, V, and VI. He died in 1447, and apparently, if you can see down in there, you can see the red that's on his coffin. I can't see any red, but let's go around it. Sorry for making you dizzy. Oh, maybe I do see red. Hold on. See if I can get closer. That down there looks like red cloth. Some coat of arms or something there. Oh, there it is. That's a good shot. Huh. They offer tours. They're free tours. They ask for a donation if you can afford it. But it is a fascinating tour. This place has so many architectural styles. It also celebrates several different types of ceremonies. They have Roman Catholic ceremony. They have just several different. It's not just one denomination constantly. Everywhere you look, there's something interesting. This is flooring.
See that on
This is the inside of the prayer room. You pray for the departed or people who have passed away. The carving in the center is the only English pope who apparently went to school here with the monks at St. Albans. So this was the area she described. These were built, this part was built using old Roman materials that they found, and they look like bricks, but if you look closely, it's drawn on. It's just hand drawn to look like brick. Then when it was extended, they decided to go with what was popular during the period. So you can tell there is a definite start of the new style, completely different to the old. And it does that several times around the church. Wow, that was stunning. It was really interesting. I took the guided tour. I'll try to put some narration in. I didn't want to film everything she said. It took an hour, so I didn't want to spend all that time filming. But the different architectural designs, and you can see just from here how different the tower looks from this part of the church. I mean, really interesting. Very, very, every little nook and cranny had something else interesting. I was hoping in St. Albans to spend a lot of time going to a lot of Roman things that they have, but I'm running out of time. I spent a lot of time in that cathedral, and I'm glad I did. It was fantastic. If you're ever here, take the guided tour. Amazing. And it's funny, it's informative, it's not formal and stuffy. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Highly recommended. I forgot to mention there's also a cafe and a shop. Sorry for the wind noise, it's getting very windy. Here is another, I think this is the west side of it. And then you can see back in the back where it's different architectural styles. So this is the Abbey Gatehouse, built around 1362. It was once the main entrance to the Abbey of St. Albans. This and the Abbey Church, now the Cathedral, are all that remain of Britain's leading medieval monastery. And this is the gatehouse. Again, I apologize if the wind noise is just terrible. We'll get a bit closer look. So this is St. Albans School. The Lady Church area inside the church is where the school used to be. Now it sits here. Gorgeous building. Quite a thick-walled gatehouse. And out in the park, that area, is where the Roman city of Verulamium, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, was. Britain's oldest cathedral tower is right there. Thank you all so much for watching and coming along with me to St. Albans Cathedral. I really appreciate it and hope you enjoyed it.